Hello and welcome to my channel. So today I am drawing and painting a galah, which you can see up in that top left corner there. So that's my reference. So I'm going to just get my picture organised so I can see it on my iPad next to me. There we go. So I'm going to start by drawing the body shape. So I'll just start with the head, just looking at the shapes. That's all I'm doing. I don't want to make it too big, otherwise he won't fit in the page. Already I've got him in the wrong spot. Because his wings are tall, I've got to drop him down lower. So I'm going to drop him down a bit on the page. So I'll drop him down to about here. And I'll just draw the shape of the head. So I can check like the width of his face. If I measure the width of his face, it's about, or the depth of his face is about that deep. And then I'll measure everything against the head. His beak comes out a little bit there like that. Got to try and, I'm just looking at angles and shapes, not thinking too much about detail yet, just thinking shapes. Now his little feathery bit comes down a bit lower there. Now his eye, I've got to flatten out his head. So he's got a flat top on the top of his head. So this is a galah. These are Australian birds. They're very beautiful. We've got them around at the moment. Okay, now I'm just going to draw the eye, or around the eye. They've got pretty patterns around their eye. And then his iris, I'll pop in the middle. Like that. Okay. So that's his iris. And then the pink colour goes back to here. Now I'm going to use my Daniel Smith's colours today because I've got opera pink in that, and he is a very pink bird. So they are magnificent. Now his head is 2.5 times 1, 2.5 times his head is his body length. And I'm just going to do a tube shape. You can see his back is no wider than the top of his head, and his tummy comes down a little bit, and then comes back to this sort of a point here. Then his tail is 1, 2 times the length of his head. So 1, 2. So his tail will end there. So I take that starting wide and going down to a point. Again, starting wide, looking at the shapes, going down to the point. And that's the basic shape of his body. So now his wings are, the start of his wing is the length of his head. And it comes, because he's sort of turning a little bit, it's a little bit back on his back. So it's down his first wing. The wing closest to us is there. And then the second part of his wing is 1.5 to the top feather. So 1.5. And then there's another flight feather that is 1.5 almost. That again, 1 and a bit. Okay, so that's the basic length of that wing. Now I'll come closer to his head. Same measurements there, but slightly different angles. So, see, that starts just below, that wing starts just below that white on his neck. The bend on this wing is slightly higher because he's tilted towards us. And then, because he's going off into the distance, it's 1 and a bit. He's only just going to fit on this. 1 and a bit to that part of his wing there. Okay, and then he's got a flight wing that comes out a bit higher. So almost didn't fit him on the page. So then, for the width of his wings, it's 1 and a bit. That one is his head width. So I'll measure his head. So the width of his wing at the widest point is 1 and a bit. So 1.5. So his shape of his wings will come down there. Like that. And then this wing, measure his head. Measure his head. One width of his head is again 1.5 at the bottom. 1.5. So his wing comes down to about there. I'm looking at his tail. His actually wing comes down to about there. And then the top of his wing take that up into a narrowing or into a point up there. I'll add the wing feathers in a minute. So now we can start to add a little bit of detail. So that's him basically blocked in. His feet are tucked up under his little tail there, so you can't really see them. Now to draw in his other shapes, I'm just going to, now the width of his head is exactly the width of that red line under his wing. And it narrows up the top to that point there, like that. And the top side of this wing is all grey, and it starts just below there. So then I get drawing the feather texture because the top of that is all like soft feathers. Then on this wing, he's got the grey that comes onto his back. So I'll draw that in now. And I can start to draw. He's got I can see 1, 2, 3, 4 feathers here. So I'm just going to, 1, 2, not going to be exactly the same, but it's a painting. And then 1, I'm just doing these by eye. 2, doesn't matter if he's not I think I've got them a bit long, but that's okay. I'll drop them down a bit. I can erase as I go. I can erase. It's not a problem. And they sort of tuck back onto themselves a little bit down here. And 2 more. Like that. Then he's got a little flight feather. That one comes up here. Okay, so then second feather, take them out a little bit from where I had them. So they've got a thick part at the top, and then next, and they sort of step out a little bit at the top, like that. Then they start to come in again from about the 4th one. That stays about the same as that one. And then quite a thick one. I'll erase the pencil marks in a mini. Come down here. So I'm just adding the last 3 on this wing. And they sort of stay in line, don't they? They stay in line with each other. And then that one like that. So it's not exactly the same as the photo, but it's pretty close. So now I start on this wing, and it's all the downy feathers are under there. He's got the one flight feather that's there, or the top of the wing feather, not a flight feather. These ones here are the flight feathers. And that starts out pointy, because this is the different side of the feathers. You see the top side, which is softer looking on that side. Then come down here. Draw that one in. So there's 4. I've got to have that one a bit longer. 1, 2. Looking at the shapes and the lengths, this one's a bit shorter than all of them, like fingers almost. And then these ones start to get thicker. That's a shorty. Comes to about there. Make it a bit thicker. Then these ones are quite rounded. So that one like that. Next one like that. Like 2 sort of, got little birds fighting with my window as we speak. Got tons of birds outside, and I've been feeding them and watering them, so they're all coming up around the house. It's summer here, it's very hot. So I put little bird baths out and bird seed for them. Okay, so now come down here. And you can buy native bird seed, so that's good. And I've got to get the hanging ones for the trees so they can eat in the trees as well, because I like to feed the ones that are up high as well. But I haven't got those at the moment. I've got to go to the supermarket and get them. The native bird ones that hang in the trees. Okay, so that's then that wing is pretty well marked in. Okay, now he's got the pink of his body comes down and around like that, and then down there. see he's got a bit of some of his feathers are out that way a bit. He's all cream around there. That's grey. I think I've got to round his beak off. I've got his beak way too pointy, so I'm going to round his beak off a fraction. That's better. A bit less pointy. Okay. I'm quite happy with that. So now I am going to start to mark in. I've got to make his eye a little bit. I'll leave a highlight on his eye. Oops. So I'm going to erase that because I just filled that in. Highlight there, like that. And I am going to start with the watercolour. Actually, I'm going to erase all these other extra lines that I've got with my kneadable eraser. And I'm drawing on a Stillman and Birn sketchbook today. I love Stillman and Birn for watercolours and sketches. And that way I can keep my art in the book. I don't have to worry so much about framing or storing. I can just leave it in the book, and if I want to frame it at any stage, I can just cut it out of the book. You can buy the ones with spiral binding. I couldn't get hold of one of them. I had to order that online, and I thought, you know what, I'll just grab what's in the shop. So this is not a spiral bound, but you can grab spiral bound and they're much easier to remove your painting, but I can just cut this out if I want to frame it at any point. Okay, so now I am going to get my watercolours, which I have handy sitting right next to me here, and I'm going to start with a light grey. Oops, Daisy just dropped my towel on the floor. I'll start with a light grey, and I'm going to use a middle-sized brush. So I'm going to go. Oops, I keep hitting my camera. Sorry about that. So I'm going to start with a middle-sized brush, which is a size 6 round, and I'm going to start with a light grey. And for that grey, I'm going to mix up burnt umber and a bit of cobalt blue. Do I have a blue there? Oh, I haven't. Oh no, I do have a blue over there. So I've got a cobalt blue. Oh, I've got a phthalo. Let's have a look what phthalo does. Makes a grey. That's good. Okay, makes a browny grey. Oops, just got it on my page. Got to quickly clean my palette. I just realised I didn't clean this palette the other day. I don't need to clean all the colours off because I might even use some of the other colours. So now super duper 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 diluted. Super diluted. So it's very, very, very watery. Hello, Joe. Flaming galah, yes. So now this is not light like the one on the photo, but it's got a little bit of a pink tone to it. My dog's just crying at me through the window. She's like, I want to come into the office. So how are you, Joe? So I've just mixed up. This is burnt umber and phthalo blue. I'm using my Daniel Smith's today just to almost just tint the colour top of that head. Then I'm going to take that up this wing. Actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to grab, I've got another one here. I forgot blue in that. Let's go open this little palette. Oh, I do. Okay, so it's all good. I have another Daniel Smith little palette there, but I've just got a spritz to make sure it's all nice and wet. I'll just do that. I'll just shut that one. Sit that up there. Colours everywhere. There we go. That one there. So I can use ultra. And it's going to slightly change that mix. Ultra blue and burnt umber. Ooh, that's way too much umber. Hang on. Ultra. Makes a lovely, that's a purpley grey. That's a softer grey. Actually, and because it does have a little bit of pink in it, that grey. So now I've just got it very, very wet. Not too bad. Thanks, Jen. No worries. Good to hear. Good to hear. It's a very similar. It's only a very slight difference. I'm just going to run that around pretty much his whole wing. Always work light to dark. This paint, oh, I missed a bit with my eraser. I've got to get rid of that line there. Like that. Let's try and get rid of that. There we go. So you can just see that grey. It's a very purpley grey. It actually carries on all of the whole wing on this side. So I'll fill it all in and I'll work light to dark. So So I'll make that darker as I go around. Hello, Stitched. How are you, doll? So then I'm just going to fill all these in with the base grey. And then I will go over the top. Now this paper, because it's not technically, it's a mixed media paper, so it absorbs the watercolour differently. So things won't run like it will on Archer's paper. But I don't mind that because I quite like this paper. It's just a little bit, it all reacts a little bit different. I'm good. The bird looks great. Thank you. Thank you very much. So yeah, all your papers act a little bit different. I'm used to this one now, so I quite like it. I've taken that, I erased that wing by accident, that top feather. So I just take that down and take it down onto his back. He's got the grey that comes down there. Then all these underneath feathers are grey. So I'll just use this same very diluted wash and take that up his whole wing. And I can dip back into that. See, there's a bit of a puddle at the bottom there. I can dip back into that and use that paint. And my microphone, I got a new microphone. Because the other day, I think it was my earphones were playing up. So hopefully there's no echo today. So I went out and bought a new mic. There was still a sale, a Christmas sale on. So I got a couple $100 off, which was great. So I got a nice microphone and phone and microphone holder, stand thingy. So I was rather wrapped with that. So now I don't have to worry. I just leave it. I don't touch it. I can't drop it. I can't break it because that's what I did. I think I dropped my headphones one too many times. They got treated a bit roughly. I had them for 5 years though, so not a bad effort. My kids bought them for me when I was 50. 4 years I've had them. For my 50th, they bought them for me. I've been seeing a lot of funny bird videos on my YouTube shorts lately. They have so much personality. Oh my goodness, they so do. They have so much personality. And we have, it's an Australian magpie, and they are the quirkiest, funniest birds. And I've got tons of birds around here. We've got a whole family of magpies, and they've been teasing my dogs. Like literally, the one of them the other day was sitting on the ground. My dog was laying near the gate just watching me, and this magpie just ran up to him and pecked him on the bum. It wanted him to chase it because they've been chasing and flying up to there'll be two of them. The one will sit on the fence and one will sit on the ground. The dog will chase the one on the ground. It'll fly on the fence. Then the one on the fence will fly down into another spot. So the dogs are constantly running in circles, and the birds, I swear I hear them laughing. But yeah, they taunt the dogs and it's hilarious. And they flip flop. Like I went out there one day and there was one just laying flat on the ground with its legs and its wings and everything just stretched out. And I thought, oh my God, it's died. And I walked out there. It was plain dead. It got up and flew away. It was just literally laying all spread out to taunt the dogs. I wanted them to chase it. They're so funny. So if you Google Australian magpie and funny on TikTok, oh my God, Stitched, it'll crack you up. They hang off the clothes on the clothesline. They hang upside down. They do all kinds of weird things. They're so big on personality. Such big personalities. Yeah, Google Australian magpie, funny on TikTok, and you'll just, it's a whole new world of crazy with birds. They're so smart. Crazy Maggies, yes, they are fantastic. They're one of my favourite birds, and you can teach them to talk. My grandma was, well, she would if she was still alive. She'd be 120 years old now. When she was young, she had a pet magpie, and she taught it to talk, and it would say, "I'm crook," because it wanted food. So if it was hungry, it would say, "I'm crook." And it'd lay on its back, and so you'd have to feed it. And then it would guard like a dog. It'd sit under the bush at the front door, and any time anyone came near it or anyone came up the door, it'd run out and bite them on the ankles and then run back into the bush again. It was like a guard bird. They're funny. So that's the base grey. I'm actually going to start now. I'm going to do exactly the same paint mixture, just less water. So I'm going to go ultra blue. Ultra blue. I can hear him squawking now. Burnt umber. Just less water. So it's more of a thicker mixture to make a stronger purpley grey. And I'm going to take that. So this is a middle tone for the wings. And I'm going to start on this furthest wing. Otherwise, I'm going to end up with my hand in it. And I'm just going to take that onto these other feathers around here. Just to darken up the ones up the top. And anywhere I can see it's darker, It's not exactly the same as a photo, but I'm happy with it because they are very purpley sort of grey. Doesn't have to be exactly the same as a photograph. Just has to give the illusion because you never, when you're hanging on the wall, you never see the painting and the photo side by side. So you just get it as close as you think you can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just get it as close as your eye sees it. I don't know whether my camera's on this TV, on the computer's doing that justice, but it's a lovely, soft, purpley colour. And I always like, if you can mix your own colours, if you can, if you're feeling confident, I prefer to mix them than use base colours because when you mix them, it just gives them more life. And so my greys are usually always a burnt umber and a blue. Doesn't matter which blue. The darker, if you want almost black, you'd use indigo with your blue. And yeah, if you lighter greys, you use lighter blues to mix with your brown. And any three colours will make a brown. So you mix any three colours will make a different type of brown. So it's fun to practice with your colour theory. It took me a long time. I practiced lots and lots and lots and lots to get where I am, to sort of figure it all out. There's lots of mistakes, but lots of fun practicing. So highly recommend practicing. Mix in your colours. And each brand of paint also reacts differently. So I'll mix a different brand of ultramarine or cobalt and brown, and I'll get a different grey with each brand. So each brand is slightly different. So if I mix this with, because this is Daniel Smith, if I used my Sennelier, it would be more of a true grey, like more of a blacky grey. And I don't know why that is, but it's something to do with the mixture of the pigments. But yes, each brand is different. So now I can see a shadow. I'm looking for shadows and things, anything that's going to define this bird's shape. So now I can see the shadow down the front of the wing. So I'll start with the mid-tone shadow, and I've just got to soften that. So all I do to soften that is wet my brush, and I'm just going to drag that. Like I said, this is mixed media. This is Stillman and Birn sketchbook. So it doesn't react the same as if it was on true watercolour paper. So it's not going to spread out like the other paper. But I love these books, so I'm using them. Okay, so now same on the other wing, slightly darker, coming up the face of the wing, like that. Follow the bend around. The whole tip of that wing is dark. It's even darker, but I will build that up. You can see a deep dark shadow on that part of the grey there. Okay, now having another look. Okay, I've got to grey up. I've got to really darken up all of these. So I'll go back to I'll mix up. Where is it? Ultra. I'm going to go a bit thinner now. So Ultra and burnt umber. Add less water. No, sorry, more water, but not quite. I'm going to do half tone. So not going full dark yet. I'm just adding. Now I'm just going to add dark to these feathers. There's my husband outside, I think, maybe. And you can see that dark doesn't go all the way to the bottom of the wing. So I'll take that down. And it's personal preference what paper you use. I prefer, when I'm doing, like if I was doing a commission, I would use Archer's paper, Archer's watercolour hot press. Hot press is smooth because I like smooth. This has sort of got a little bit of texture to it, just a little. But they've got all different series. You can get smooth right through to rough with this paper, with the Stillman Birn. Okay, so now I just continue on. Take it all the way down. So if anyone's out there, can you tell me, Joe, if you're still there, do you want to tell me if you can hear them? Is the microphone sounding okay? Because I set it up myself and I'm not very good at technology. So if it sounds okay, I'd love it if you'd let me know. I haven't fiddled with any of the major settings. Okay, again. Oops, I shouldn't have done that, the line that way. Always try and follow the directions of the feathers, because then you'll end up with your Hello, Matrix. How are you? How are you? So just come down here. Continuing on, I'll go over this again with another darker layer. Sounds wonderful. Awesome. Well, that was good value then. And I'm leaving little gaps. You can see I'm leaving the lighter parts at the tops of the wings. You can see at the underside at the top of the wing, these feathers, it's lighter. So I'll get onto the pink next, but I just want to get the base of the wings done, the most of the wings done. Okay, so now I'm going in with the super dark. So it's exactly the same colour, so it's still ultramarine and burnt umber, just less water. And I just fiddle with it on my palette till I get the mixture right. Just add a bit more blue. If I've got too much brown, add a bit more blue. There we go. That's pretty cool. I'm happy with that. And then I take that onto the darkest part there. And see, this paper dries super fast. And we've got a hot day here again too. Oh my goodness, Joe. The other day, you know how I said I was going to come back and stream? I had friends drop around, but you know what temperature it got to here? 42, which is 107. Oh my goodness. Hello, Plasma Grapes, and it's Stitched. How are you? Plasma Grapes, great name. Okay, so I come down and around here. I said hi to you, Stitch, before. I'm just having a Jenny moment. I'll say hi again. Hi again. Okay, so now the darkest darks on the tips of the wings. Whoops. I should use the tip of the brush. 107, yes. It was disgusting. It was disgusting. So I didn't do the wildlife stream because none of the animals came down. None of the wildlife came down. I tried to do it yesterday and the kangaroos all bounced away. I had to walk down the paddock because my camera wouldn't zoom, and I'm like, oh no. So I walked down the paddock, and of course, when I walked near them, they all bounced away. But I'll try and get you some bird footage. I might actually even do a short video, like I'll do a short. So instead of doing a live stream around the farm, when it's cooler, because we've got a hot week coming up, I'll walk around the farm and get video footage, but I'll do it as a short on YouTube. So I won't live stream it because it's too unpredictable. And I'll film my little birds, and I'll make it into a little film for you. Show you how wonderful the wildlife is around here. So now I'm just getting a damp brush and I'm just going to drag that out a little bit. Come down here, fill in the ends of the feathers because the ends of the feathers are darker. 30 degrees here. Centigrade or Celsius? It's 1 degree here. Feels like 2. Ew, that's cold. Feels like 2 though, that's good. Yeah, we're getting to 30 today, but we're back up to 40 by the weekend. We're back up to which is 100-ish. And some states, oh my God, it's so hot. But yes, hot and windy. I like the cold. I have to say, I love the cold. I'm a cold weather person. We don't get a lot. Winters are nice. I like winter. I could live happily forever winter. Our winters don't get, as you remember, Joe, our winters don't get terribly cold. Okay, so that's the darks on the underneath of that one. -2. Yeah. Oh, it feels like -2. Oh, ouch. That's not nice. Okay, I'll take that back. Yeah, ill. Okay, minuses are not fun. Minuses are definitely not fun. We usually only get that at night time. Daytimes very rarely get to minus temperatures. Okay, so I'm happy with that. I can add a little bit of grey. See the tops of the feathers are a little bit bejaggedy. I've made them a bit sort of straight looking, so I'm just going to bejaggedy them up. I've got to darken this line. And maybe even add a little bit more dark. See, I've got a bit of indigo on my palette still, so I'm just dropping a bit of indigo. Because I've used a blue in the base mix, blue will work. It won't look too strong. So I'm just going to use a bit of indigo that I've got left on my palette for the darkest bits, like that. And using the very tip of my brush. A lot of my paintings, I'll only use 1 or 2 brushes. I tend to not mix up use a lot of brushes. I tend to stick with my favourites. So I'll use this 6 And then when I get to the end, I'll use a super fine tip, like a 0 or a 1. This is middle size. This is a 6. I'm just going to darken up using the indigo, the very, very tips of these feathers, because you can see in the photograph the very tips are the darkest. We're expecting a temperature of 4. Oh, nice. Balmy weather. Ew. Yeah. Well, it's better than minus. It is better than minus. I just said that I like cold, but I don't like that cold. I like sort of 7 or 8 degrees. I can do that. I can do 7 or 8. But then again, you can wear a jumper. It's really hard to get cool once you're hot. Oh my God, sleeping, bleh, it's disgusting. Trying to sleep in the heat is awful. We've got air conditioning, thank God. But even then, some nights it's so bloody hot that, yeah, the air conditioners struggle. So I'm just dropping in this super, like, love indigo. Indigo is my favourite dark blue. It's my favourite blue. And I'm just adding that in. You can see that's sort of feathered around a little bit there, so I'll tidy that up. I'm coming down underneath, and it's quite dark under here. So I'll add that super dark there. Like that. There we go. And I'm having a quick look at my big screen. Oh, the joy of aircon. Yes. Joyce, hello. Hi, Jen. Just dropped in to give you some views and watch you paint. This is so beautiful. You do wings as if they were part of you. Oh, you're such a sweetheart, Joyce. Everyone, this is Joyce. Joyce is an amazing YouTuber. She does beautiful videos. Time-lapse to music. Quite religious, really lovely. But yes, pop a follow to Joyce. If anyone's, yeah, if we can click on her name and I think you can follow her channel. Great streamer. Lovely streamer. Video person. So everyone, anyone in here, pop a follow. Not as good as Jen? Oh, you are. Different ways. We're good in different ways. I couldn't edit videos like you do. You do beautiful editing. So now I'm going to come down and around. And I'm going to add, so I've just added more water to the mixture, the original mixture. And I'm taking that down just to strengthen up the colour on this bottom part of this wing. I'll take that all the way down. I'll leave a little edge of highlight along the edge there. Digital Art Animated, that's the one. It's lovely. It's fascinating to watch. Okay, so now I've darkened that one up. I'm quite happy with that. I'm going to leave. I think I'm going to leave the rest of that. Now I'm going to move on to my pinks. So, hey, all hugs and blessings. I'm an editor more than an artist. That art editing is an art form on its own. Editing is truly an art form on its own. So now I'm going to use my, this is, what's it called again? Opera pink. It's the only, that's why I thought I'd use this one. It's sort of an orangey pink. I might see, what happens if I add yellow? I've never mixed anything with a pink to see what happens. Oh, that makes it an orangey sort of a pink. So now, and I'm going to drop this pink in. So this is opera pink mixed with yellow, which I've never ever mixed before. But there you go, just to see what would happen. And it's made a yellowy sort of pink. And I'm going to take that around. Because opera pink was the closest colour that I could think. Because the reds are too strong. Reds are way too strong for what I want. I might use it for the darkest shadows after I'd use the red, but for the moment, I'm just going to do a very diluted wash. Bring this all down and around. Like that. Just continue on to get the base layer on. Oh, I've got to remember to leave the tail. The tail's creamy. I didn't even do, I forgot the grey on the tail. I'm a silly duffer. All right. Yeah, so that's all right. So now I'll just worry about the pink and I'll do the tail last. Cockies aren't that pink? No. Definitely not. They're sort of, it's a, you know what? There's not a colour on it. There's not a ready-made colour that exists that is actually the right colour. So I'm just adding a little bit of, I don't even know what this is, another pink that I've got on the Smith palette, Daniel Smith palette, but I've just added a ton of water to the shadow areas, a ton of water to the mix, and I'll use it on the shadow areas is what I'm trying to say. And I'm going to take that anywhere that I can see that's darker. So it comes, there's a little bit of light under his eye. So this is sort of the mid-tone. Actually, you know what I said about not flowing well on this paper? The watercolour does actually flow quite well on this paper, surprisingly. It's been a while since I've used it. So this is an old book that I had that I hadn't used all the pages on, trying to go through and fill up my old sketchbooks. As you do. It does warp a little bit. That's the only thing. It does warp a little, which doesn't bother me because it lives in the book, and once I shut the book, it'll flatten it. Another reason I like having them in books. Okay, so I'm looking at it. So that's the first layer. I'll come up here. That's why it says it handles light washes, but oops, I'm doing heavy washes. Typical me, breaking all the rules. Come down and around, but it just shows you it still does work. Okay, so now having another look. I'm going to go back and add some of that stronger pink. Oh, that's not it. Gosh, that was a purple. I dipped into the wrong doodah. Don't want purple. I want a stronger pink. That's almost a red. It's a very, actually that's an orangey red. That's nice. And while that's still wet, I'm going to drop that in and see what it does. That's working. Come up here. Oh, I didn't do the light pink in there. I'm a duffer. Okay, grab my other pink with my bit of yellow. And put that up here. Why didn't I fill that in? Okay. While it's still, that's all right. I can do that. I wondered what was missing then, but that was missing. And I come up to this grey. It's darker there. So I've lost my colour chart for what this paint is called. I just know it's a stronger pink. I did a little swatch before I came live. I did a little swatching of them so I knew what colours were which, what they look like. I just know the one, which is the opera. Okay. And come down under his tail here. It's dried already. Oh no, it's still a little bit damp. We're good. And I'm just building up these darker areas. Out. Come back down to here. Okay. I'm going to take this stronger pink up around here. Now I'm going to be a bit brave here, or a bit crazy. I'm not sure which of the two it is. I can't decide. And I'm going to go a stronger red with the pink, just to get a darker, stronger tone, stronger colour. Just for the very bottom, we'll see how this goes. Actually, I'll test up the top. It looks all right. And I'm just going to drop that in. Because I've used it in the mixture with the other pink, it all goes, it all works. I'm just going to add that to the very bottom where you can see he's at his darkest. Is this a parakeet? This is a galah. It's a type of cockatoo. Yeah, it is a type of cockatoo. And they are beautiful. I wanted to draw a Major Mitchell too. They're a yellow, a really bright yellow cockatoo. Oh, actually, I might be wrong there. I'm just having a moment. Are they a parrot? We get lots and lots and lots of parrots of every variety. Everything from rosellas, lorikeets, parakeets, parrots. We get black cockies. We've had a group of black cockatoos. We get about 12 of them come through. They migrate though, so they don't stay here all year. So we've had the black cockies. They're black and pink. They're gorgeous. I love them. Now for cockatoo, but it's flying. Hang on. I thought cockatoo had a big headpiece. They do. They do. They fold back when they're flying and stuff, though. So these guys have a little crest, but you don't. It's not sort of real. Actually, this one. If you Google, so there's a lot of, even our parrots have little crests. Cockies have the biggest. Google a black cockatoo. Oh my God, they're gorgeous. This is a beautiful bird. You have all the coolest animals. We do have some beautiful animals, I have to say. We're very lucky. And they're babies. These ones' babies start, oh no, they're the rosellas. The rosella babies, they're red, those birds, and they start green. And they turn to red, which is amazing as they get older. So we had a mum and dad and a baby yesterday come into the waterer. So they were all sitting. The mum came down first and drank out of the water and made sure it was all safe. And then dad came down with the baby and they all had drinks of water and played in the water. So it was lovely and I just sat on the chair watching them. I'll film them for you today and I'll make a little YouTube short. How does that sound? Because I tried streaming outside and my internet kept drying out. So I gave up on that. Now, what I'm going to do here, you can see the feathers on the top part wing here have got texture. So now that's pretty much dry, I'm going to make a slightly stronger mix of the burnt umber and ultra blue. Slightly stronger, so a little bit of water to the mix. And I'm just going to add in a little bit of feather texture. Just a little. Just to stop that from looking so flat. So glad that the black cockatoos are still around after those horrid bushfires. Yes. Yeah, we've still got lovely cockies, and we've had more of the little possums, the little flying possums. What are they called? Oh my God, I've gone completely blank. Going to have dinner now. Keep painting. I'm coming back. That's all right, Dal. You enjoy your dinner. Hugs to you. Enjoy. It's breakfast time here. What time is it? I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? I was having a look at my clock. If I can see my clock. Where's my clock? I don't know. I haven't got a clock on there. Where's my clock? Hang on. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. There we go. It's 10 a.m. I had no idea what time it was. Totally lost track of time. That's what happens when you do art. But I've been up since about 5:30, 6 o'clock, something like that. That was a cocky. I've got my windows open so you can hear all the bird sounds, hopefully. Little squeaky one is blue wren. We've got the families of blue wrens here at the moment too, which are absolutely gorgeous. They're my absolute favourite. They're so sweet and charming. So I'm just adding, it's 11:05 p.m. Oh, wow. Okay. Now you can see I've got to go in super dark. I'm just going in with the indigo. I'm being brave. And I'm going in with the indigo in a super dark areas. There, like that. Now, I don't know, I can actually make, I'm going to make a purpley colour. I'll just delete that out because I should have done that. I'm going to make a purpley colour. So I'm going to go my bit of indigo that I've got up there, and I'm going to add a bit of the same red to the indigo. See if I can make a stronger purpley colour, a stronger purpley grey, like that. And that, I'll use that for the shadow. There we go. And I'll just dilute that and drag it around because you can see super dark sort of shadow coming around there. And I need to add more strong pink, so less pigment, less water, more pigment into these feathers. And I'm going to use just the belly of the brush to mark in these feathers. They'll dry a lot lighter than they go onto the paper. Famous last words. So I'm just adding that feather texture just to give that a bit more interest, make it look a bit more alive. So we're coming actually into the final touches. We're not this, it's quite fast. You know, I started drawing birds. I was never confident and I thought I've got to push myself and I was scared of drawing birds. And this is only a couple of years ago. And I'm like, I need to force myself to do something I'm not comfortable with. So I started drawing birds and now they're my favourite subject. And I was the most scared of drawing them and painting them because of the detail. I was terrified of the detail. So it just shows you practice. And now it's become my favourite subject. So I'm just going to bajaggedy these bottoms of these feathers so that they look a bit more less straight and flat, like that. And I can see stronger feathers under here, so I'm going to add this stronger pigment under this darker part of his wing. So it's just picking it, having a look at the shadows, looking at the darker areas. Same here with me and birds. Yes, I was always terrified of them, Joe, to draw them. And the more you do it, the easier it gets. So I'm just going to drag that all around. And I've been at it a couple of years now, and they're getting better and better every time. I'm learning to see more, to look more, to detail, to interpret it better. Now you can see I've added that in. I need to drag those edges out. So I just take the moisture off my brush with a bit of cloth. Always got a bit of cloth in my hand. And I just tidy up those edges so it doesn't all cauliflower everywhere. But yeah, they were my least favourite. And now they're my favourite. And I love wings. Like, I love drawing birds sitting, but I love drawing the movement. I love to see movement in drawings. That's what I challenge myself, to create movement. Do lots of animals just moving around. Do a cassowary. Oh my God, I love cassowary. They're my favourite bird. I've got so many favourite birds, I've decided. I go to Melbourne Zoo and I sit with the cassowary there. She's just a magnificent animal. And they're so prehistoric. They are just magnificent. I sat next to it. She come up to the glass, because I'd go to the zoo once a week and sit and draw her. But I sat next to her the one day, and she just stood next to the glass, and her legs were they're like dinosaurs. She's phenomenal. Absolutely magnificent animal. I'm assuming it's a girl. I can't tell. I don't know what the difference is. I'm guessing she's a girl. It had a girly name. But I'd love to do a cassowary. So I probably will do a cassowary. I haven't done one in a long time. I have to see if I can dig out my photos of the bird at the zoo. Okay, so now I'm using that taupey Daniel Smith colour that I can never remember the name of. Buff something. Buff Titanium. Oh my God, I remembered. Buff Titanium is my favourite beaky colour. And to that, I'm actually going to add a little bit of umber. See if I can just darken that up a tad. Just for the shadows on the beak, because you can see the top of the beak. Again, using the tip of my brush. Top of the beak is darker. So I'm just looking for shadows. Darker around the face of the beak there. And it's darker around, I was going to call it a lip again. It's not a lip line. Darker around the base of the beak. Base of the lip. Oh my God, I keep saying lip. Base of the beak. Birds don't have lips. Okay, like that. See, I've gone outside the line a little bit. We won't talk about that. And then deny. So keep going. I can lift that off. I think I can lift that off. So I just clean my brush, wet it. I'm going to run back around the edge of that and just touch it with my, there we go. So you can, if it's still wet, that lifted up off the paper really well. Clean your brush, wet it a lot, and just rub back over your mistakey area. And it lifts it off. On most good quality papers. Some papers won't let you, but this is a good quality. This is archival. And as I said before, it's not really meant for watercolour. It's a mixed media. At least you're not calling it a bill. Yeah. Yeah. No. I'm bad, but I'm not that bad. Now, how did I make that purple? I've got to go ultra. Oh, I've got a bit nestle. So I'm going to use this for the grey on his tail, because I didn't do his tail. It's a pinky purpley grey. And now I'm going to dilute that a bit more. I realised I didn't have enough water in there. Like that. Take that down the tail. Like that. All the way underneath. Just fill that tail in. And now he's darker at the bottom. So while that's still damp, I'm going to add the same mixture, same paint, different, less water. Same paint. I need to break down what I'm saying. Same pigments, just less water, more pigment to make the same grey. So I'm burnt umber, ultra blue, and then less water because it's darker underneath. And then you see it's like 1 or 2 shades lighter up the top. And I just add it into that darker area underneath. Anywhere I see it's a little bit darker, like that. And the top's the highlight. I watched an artist paint a kestrel And he kept calling the beaker bill. So annoying. Oh no, that's okay. Yeah. So now I come under here, having a quick look. There's a shadow here I missed. So now I'm seeing all the shadows. So I'm going to use my ultramarine, my indigo mix that I had. I'm going to take this shadow under here, over the pink, because that'll just purpley up that pink anyway, which is what I want. So, and now I'll soften the edges by dragging that out with a damp brush, like that. Take that under the wing here. I can take it along this line underneath there like that. Now I'm almost coming to the eye. Just going to strengthen the shadow up there. Really strong shadow right there. Strong shadow. So I'll go over that again, like that. Okay. Shadow comes down underneath the wing here a bit. Okay, now I'm going to do the eye, and for the eye, I'm going to use the indigo. I'm going to use the indigo, and I'm going to leave a little bit around the edge of the eye. So where's my, have I got indigo? Oh, I don't have indigo. Do I have indigo? I have indigo. Oh, I have indigo in Daniel Smith. I didn't know I had indigo in Daniel Smith, but I have one, so I can use that, which is good. And so for the eye, I'm going to get my brush to a point. So I'll wet it, run my cloth, my cloth over it, bring it to a nice point, and then these brushes were gifted to me by my colleagues at work when I retired, and I absolutely love them. So now I'm going to go in with the indigo. Oops. I went over the highlight a little bit, but that's okay. I can lift that off, just touch it with my cloth there, and lift that off, and that'll get me my highlight back a little bit. Go back to my indigo. And carefully cut around that highlight, like that. There we go. Around the top like that. Okay. And I just leave that little highlight in the centre at the front. Having another look. Now I've got to do the dots around the eye. So they're sort of orangey almost. I don't have an orange, so I'm going to use, what makes orange? Red and yellow makes orange. So I had to think then, red and yellow. I've got my colour wheel. These are always handy. If you get stuck mixing colours, have a colour wheel. You can get them from any art shop. They are so handy. If you want to mix your colours and you have a moment like I just did, like, oh, shivers, what do I use to mix that? Well, you can grab your colour wheel and it will tell you. And you can probably even get one online. Just print it off. If you've got a colour printer, just print it off and you don't even have to buy one. But I love my colour wheels when I have moments like that to make different colours. And then I just add the dots around the eyes. You can hear the parrots. That's a cocky. No, that's a rosella actually making that noise, if you can hear that noise. It's smiling. It is smiling. The birds are all going crazy today because it's going to be a hot one. Then I'm just going to add some more under there. Go super dark. So now I'm using pure red, just in the shadow areas, the deepest areas. I don't know what red it is, but it's red. Because I need to find my colour wheel, my colour chart for this palette of paints. Because I keep all my colour charts, but I've cleaned up my art room. And when I clean things up, inevitably I put things away. And when I put things away, I can't find them. So, yes. So, story of my life, the bane of my existence is myself. Because I tend to put things away and then they're gone. Because I put them away. Okay. So, I'll add this dark under here again. It's just red. I say it's a dark, but it's the darkest of the tones you can see, or the colours you can see. And we're just about done. He's just about done. How long did that take? 55 minutes. So that just shows you how easily you can paint with watercolour. Keep it simple. Don't get buried in the detail. You can improvise detail. So, because like I said, you never look at the photograph with the painting. So it can be a little bit different. It doesn't matter. Maybe I'll add a sky around him. Do I risk it? Let's do that. So I'm going to go ultra blue. So what I'm going to do, clean my brush. And that'll contrast his grey, his lighter colours areas better. So I'm going to wet the paper carefully. Not going to fill the whole page. I'm just going to wet around the bird. So this just shows you how hardy this paper is. I'm just staying a teeny tiny little bit away. So it does warp a little bit, but it doesn't matter. Once I shut the book, it'll flatten it again. So I come around here while that's still wet. I've got to be careful not to run it onto the bird. While that's still wet, I'm going to drop in some pure. Where's my cobalt? Where's my cobalt? Do I have cobalt? Uh-oh. I do. No, I've got cerulean. We use cerulean. Let's do that. I'm going to drop the cerulean in. And just let it run. Don't drop your brush in the other blues. I'm just going to let that run around and drag it a little bit in. And while that's still wet, it will flow all around the bird to give the illusion of sky. Whoops. Whoa, that's a bit strong. I'll wet that, add a bit of water, drag it around. And that should go to the edge of where I've got the water. Like that. Now, wet underneath. I've got to be a bit careful here. I've got to stay away from the bird a little bit because that red is still damp. And it will flow like that. It'll flow into the water because you can re-wet watercolour and it will start flowing again. And I don't really want my red to mix with my blue. Okay. Now, drop in. Ooh, look at that. See how magical that is? That's what I love about watercolour. Just pick up the bead. They call that the bead at the bottom. Got a little bit too much water at the bottom. So I'm just going to take that right up to the edge of the tail and the edge of the bird without touching the red if I can. Ooh, there we go. Like that. And see that I don't like that, so I'm just going to drag that down and out. That'll just soften that edge. I don't like hard edge. So I'll just drag that down and out, that bead. Cauliflower back up a little bit, but oh well, doesn't matter. And again, I'll work up here, work my way around the bird, wet my brush, clean it, wet it, take it back up around the bird, staying away from them a little bit. Yeah, and this paper does react a little bit different. Arches is a bit more forgiving with washes like this. This will inevitably have harder edges, but oh well. So I'll come back around here. But yeah, Arches paper, mainly what I use. But this is pretty good. This does the job that I want for. This is great for sketches. Great for take out and about. Like this is, I would take one of these books to the zoo when I go to the zoo, rather than carting individual sheets. Take a book. It's much easier. And I just pin the top with a paper clip. Or even I don't know what you call those clips, a big clip, a silver clip, one of these. I clip the book with one of those. Oh my God, now I can't shut it. Open it. There we go, got it. Stunning, thank you. Thank you. Okay, continue on around. Pretty cool, and it's good fun. It just gives him a little bit of contrast. Then clean my brush again. And I'm going to add that. I've got to do, if I had a really big brush, I could wet this whole background at once. So I'm doing it in sections, which is not ideal. Preferably, you'd want to do your whole background in one big wash. But me being me, is doing it the difficult way. So I'm doing it in sections, but I'm trying to make sure, because see now that line there is going to create a watermark. The way I've done it, but I've just got to be careful to keep away from that old dry area of blue, let it sort of come almost to it, staying away from the edges a little bit like that. Now I'm just going to pick up that bead my brush, take the moisture out of it, and just take away that edge like that. I'm still going to end up with a little bit of a blobby bit there. Damn, it's working. I know. It happens sometimes. Now, I was going to darken. I'm going to leave it sort of mottled. I don't think I'm going to darken anywhere up because you can see the reference. Actually, the sky, the top of the sky is a little bit darker. I should have the darkest dark next to the lightest light. Or do I be brave? Or do I be... It's still damp. I'm going back in. We're going in! We're going in. Well, it's still damp to create a bit more contrast. Being crazy and brave and all the things. We could end up with a mess, but we'll see. Okay, no, it was good. It's working. We're good. I just want to get the darkest darks next to the light because you want your darkest darks next to your lightest lights. So I want that tail to be more highlighted. So I'm just, while that's still damp, I'm adding that pigment that I've got on my palette, the ultramarine blue. No, it's not ultramarine, it's cerulean blue. And I'm just going to soften those edges. Try not to get a oogie honeycomb thing happening. Now I'm going to clean my brush. That's a little bit better, maybe. And I've also got to do it around his head. I'm going to leave that now. I'm going to go back to around his top of his head to this corner just to get a bit more contrast. Well, it's still a little bit damp. And then wet my brush, clean it, then take excess moisture off. And I'm going to soften that edge there. Get rid of that hard line. Oh, there we go. Just take that around the edge a little bit more. It's only a little, ooh, see, that's running onto the wing. So now I just pick that up with my damp cloth, with this cloth, dry cloth. Pick any bits that are running where I don't want them. So it's warped my paper quite a lot now, but oh well. I'm going to add a little bit more grey to his beak, but I'm going to use indigo just here. And you can see I'm not going near that blue because it'll flow everywhere otherwise. Really darken this little corner of his beak there, like that. And I reckon I'm going to call that done. I am quite happy with that for a sketch. So I'm going to sign him. I'm going to get my thin brush and sign him. And cassowaries are super vibrant, so I will be back tomorrow and I will do you a cassowary just for you, Joe. And I'm going to dig out all my vibrant colours because that's a whole lot of colours that the cassowaries have the most vibrant. I'll just do the head and the neck and a bit of the back, I think. I won't do the whole bird. And it's 25, right, 2025. 25, there we go. So that is done. So thank you so much. Thank you for hanging out. Thanks, Joe. Thanks, Joyce. Thanks, everyone. Plasma. It's stitched. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out, for chatting. You guys and gals are a world of awesomeness. I'll be back tomorrow, around about the same time, I reckon. It's going to be even hotter tomorrow, so I'll be doing a lot more art. And, yeah, I'm going to go and do me laps in the pool now. Thank you, Stitched. Thank you, everyone. You guys and gals are a world of awesome. And I will be back. So let's see who's on Twitch. So for you, those of you on YouTube, on Twitch, what you do on Twitch is when you finish your stream, you can take the people that you are streaming to another channel and share the love, which I really love about Twitch. So because I'm multi-streaming, I will go and find, I have a feeling one of my mates is on. I've just got to find it. Where's Twitch? Twitch. And we're going to go and raid. So that's where I just take all of you guys with me. Yes, Blue's still on. Blue does beautiful digital art. So we're going to go and hang out with Blue. So I'm just going to, I've got to do it on my thing. Hang on. I'll sit here and do it. / raid. I'm going to type it on my thing. And then raid. I always spell Blue's name wrong. A blue skittle. See it all together. Raid. Whoops. Blue. Blue with a no E. No E? Yes, skittle. Let's see if that worked. I did it wrong last time I did it. Yes, it worked. Woohoo! Okay, I will see you all over there from Twitch, and I will, yeah, have a great day. I'll see you there. I'll see you tomorrow for you people on YouTube. I will be back. Have a great one, guys and gals. Oops. I've got to wait for him to